Well, we talked about the overrated. Time for the underrated.
Cool.
Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. Welcome to my top 10 underrated movies of 2024. Yep, year is done. Did my best and worst. Did overrated. Time to talk about the underrated movies that just a lot of people didn't talk about a lot. Didn't talk enough about these movies of 2024. Maybe they were also like trashed critically, or just people's never saw them or never bothered to talk about them, or maybe they talked about them for like a day and then just forgot all about them. Like, these are just movies I thought deserved more praise than they got, or just more appreciation, and just people should acknowledge, hey, these are pretty damn good movies. So here are the top 10, in my opinion, are the most underrated movies of 2024. Number 10, Knox Goes Away. Knox Goes Away is a Michael Keaton movie about a hitman who is slowly getting Alzheimer's disease. He's forgetting things. He doesn't know what he's even starting to do as a job, and just forgetting very important information. And then he ends up doing something. I won't spoil it, but he ends up doing something really bad. And he has to find a way to cover it all up. And then his son also comes to him with a problem. And yeah, it all ties in together. And he almost like uses his Alzheimer's as an advantage to manipulate the police and stuff. It's a really good movie. Michael Caine's very good. James Marsden's in the movie. He's very good. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good movie. It's nothing like groundbreaking or anything, but I checked it out one day on Amazon Prime, and that was quite solid. So yeah, underrated. Number 9 is Reagan, the Ronald Reagan movie with Dennis Quaid. Yeah, there's only one reason why this movie was trashed critically. It's about Ronald Reagan. Any movie probably about a Republican that isn't Abraham Lincoln will probably get trashed by the critics. The movie was not bad. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad though. It was pretty good. I thought Dennis Quaid did a very good job. Kind of like how I said with The Apprentice, how The Apprentice was made by people who clearly hate Donald Trump. This movie's clearly made by people who like Ronald Reagan. The only difference between this, though, is that they actually do show flaws with Ronald Reagan, stuff he does wrong. Unlike The Apprentice, who shows like no humanity to almost Donald Trump. Yeah, and it's one-sided, and there's a way to do movies that you don't need to just show your biases. This movie, this is the flaw with this movie. It does show its biases a little bit too on the positive side. Apprentice was more on the negative side. This is showing the positives. This is the showing the biases on the positive side because they really like Ronald Reagan in this movie, and they show the policies that he does and his religious beliefs. But they do show some stuff that he does wrong, which I can give it that. I give it that more than The Apprentice. And the stuff he did do was very good. And I did think Dennis Quaid did a good job. And I thought the movie, for what it was, and especially it wasn't a huge budgeted movie, I thought it did its job well enough. I would like a better Ronald Reagan movie, but for what this is, it's fine. And I think it's overhated, so yeah, I had to put it on here. Coming number 8 is actually a very praised movie, but no one talked about it after it came out. It just kind of came out, and everyone's like, oh yeah, that was a thing. And it's weird because I thought it was good, and that was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I think Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is kind of underrated. It came out for like a week, and then no one talked about it, and no one really even mentions it. I feel like people forgot this movie even came out this year. I think because the Apes trilogy was so good, the Caesar trilogy, Rise, Dawn, and War, and this movie just wasn't as good as those 3 films, because those 3 films are just fantastic. And this one was just good. It was a good movie, new characters. It expands on the more of the war of the humans and in the apes. It has a really cool villain, and I thought the movie was good. I was very invested with it, and I thought it was a good, solid entry in the Planet of the Apes franchise. It's just, I think people didn't talk about it and just don't care about it now. It's because they're comparing it to the Caesar trilogy, and you just can't compete with that. That's a perfect trilogy, and just gotta accept this movie as it is. It's its own kind of movie, and it's kind of going into its own territory, and for what it is, it's a good movie. So yeah, underrated. Number 7, If. Imaginary friends. A great movie. Again, critics just were super harsh on this movie. And it's a fun kids movie. I actually liked Ryan Reynolds in the movie. The twist at the ending is such an obvious twist. I saw that twist coming a mile away, so just putting that out there. But the imagination in this movie is super good. It's very visually beautiful. The message is very nice about how we all can still have our inner child imagination still. I thought John Krasinski did a good job directing this movie. I love that this is a very different direction than his like horror movies he's been making. I really liked it. I thought it was a very good emotional journey, and it was a lot of fun. And I liked all the different imaginary friends that we see. I thought it was a very visually creative film, and I really enjoyed it. And I don't see why critics were so harsh on it. It was good. Screw them. All right, number 6 is definitely a movie everyone's gonna probably disagree with me on because this is making people's like worst lists, and I don't think it's that bad. And that's Red One. I don't think Red One is a great movie. It's super corny. It's super silly. It is so cliched. It has every kind of Christmas trope cliche in it. I think it's entertaining though. This is directed by Jake Kasdan. He does very good, entertaining, like family films. Dwayne Johnson is just playing Dwayne Johnson. Chris Evans was actually probably the best part of the movie. J.K. Simmons is Santa Claus. It explores like more of the worlds of Christmas in the North Pole. You got Krampus in it. It is a very silly, stupid movie. It is a very dumb movie, and it makes little to no sense. But when you just embrace the chaos and the insanity of it, it is a lot of fun. It's definitely a movie, like I put it on for my nephew, and he had a good time with it. I think kids can watch it and have a fun time. I had a fun time with it too. It was just mindless, stupid entertainment. And I guess you could say I have a guilty pleasure for it. I thought it was fine for what it was. But man, people like hated this movie, and they think it's, again, one of the worst. And I don't think it is. It's not that bad. Sure, it's over budgeted, and there's a reason why it bombed. Like, it costs way too much. And it doesn't even look like a $200 million movie. It looks like a $50 million movie. But for what it is, I think it's fine. All right, top 5. Number 5, Horizon and American Saga. Kevin Costner movies. I saw Chapter 2 as well. I'll include it on this as well. They're both very good. They're good Western stories. They're good anthology Western stories taking place after the Civil War within like a 12-year span. Very interesting stories. Very interesting characters. I love Kevin Costner in this movie. I think the direction is good. The cinematography is breathtaking. A lot of different stories add up, and how they combine it together are really cool. Some stories aren't as interesting. Some stories I thought were a little boring. And it's not like a perfect movie. It's definitely nowhere near as good as his other Western, Open Range. But I thought these movies were solid. I thought Kevin Costner did a great job. And it's a shame that these movies didn't do well. It's a shame that he put so much money and so much effort into these movies and just no one gave a shit about them. But if it makes him feel better, I gave a shit about them. Which means nothing. But anyways. Number 4, In the Land of Saints and Sinners, the Liam Neeson movie. Liam Neeson, interesting guy, man. Like, he does a lot of these, like, strange action movies that just no one remembers or cares about. Me included. He did one this year called Absolution, and I still forget the plot of that movie, and I just saw it like a month ago. But however, In the Land of Saints and Sinners was really good. I thought this was a cool movie. It was a lot more of a slower movie, more of an action thriller. I really enjoyed Liam Neeson's more subtle, quiet performance in this movie. What's his name? Joffrey from Game of Thrones is in this movie too. He's really good. I love that it takes more place in this like small town and stuff. I thought it was a really cool movie. I thought it was very nicely paced. It had good shots, very good tension, and the ending was really good. I thought this was like one of Liam Neeson's better movies in the past like 7 years. I thought it was good, so definitely check it out. Number 3, Lisa Frankenstein. This movie was awesome. Very funny movie, very creative, very Tim Burton-esque. Yeah, like this was a better Tim Burton movie than Beetlejuice. And I liked Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice was a great movie. But this movie was just so good. Very colorful, very stylistic. Zelda Williams, Ron Williams' daughter, directed this movie. She did a great job with it. Both the leads in this movie are very good. It's very Heathers meets Addams Family meets like a Beetlejuice. It's a very Tim Burton-esque movie. I really love it, about a girl who falls in love with basically an undead man who murders people and rips their body parts to give himself body parts. It's super dark, super gothic, super twisted. Loved every second of it. And the soundtrack kicks ass in this movie. Really good movie. Definitely check it out. Number 2, One Life. One Life was a very beautiful story. I feel like this movie, if it came out near the ending of this year, it would probably get like Oscar consideration, especially for Anthony Hopkins, who just, no shock, he kills it in like every role he does. He is incredible. He is so good in this movie. This is a very powerful story, a very meaningful story. It's a story about a man during World War II, and he saved a lot of lives of the Jewish people and getting them out of concentration camps. And then the story also takes place like 50 years later when he's an older man, and he goes on this news broadcast doing a story about what he did during World War II and him seeing the faces and talking to the people that he saved all those years ago. Very powerful, very moving story, very emotional, and just a solid flick. It's sad no one really checked this movie out or no one's talking about it, but they should. It's a great film. Number 1. This was a year of very, very good animated films like The Wild Robot, Inside Out 2, Transformers 1, really great animated films. Also a lot of shit ones like Despicable Me 4 and Kung Fu Panda and Moana 2. Interesting year for animation. But the animated film that no one's talking about, and I don't think anyone will ever talk about, is Flow. Flow is one of my favorite films of the year. I think this movie was beautiful. I thought it was a visual masterpiece. And like I said, it does like the Red Turtle story of telling a story through music and visuals. It's like very Fantasia meets Red Turtle. I love it's a story about a cat. I love me a cat story. Like, play the video game Stray and you'll really fall in love with cats. But it's also like an apocalyptic story of the cat surviving and meeting these animals and stuff. And the whole story's told through music and visuals. And it was absolutely delightful. And it was my second favorite film of the year. And I stick by it. And I think it's the most underappreciated film of the year as well. So check out Flow. So yeah, that was my quick little top 10 underrated movies of 2024. So let me know in the comments below, do you agree with this top 10 list? If not, give me your guys' top 10 underrated movies of this year. Comment below, let me know. And as always, for this video, please subscribe to the channel and join the dark side.